Hey. Welcome to your weekly Corner Späti. It is myself, Nick, joined by Julia.
Hi.
She is officially back. She was on the bonus episode, but not everyone, heard it.
Wait, was that recorded? Yeah.
Yeah, it was recorded. And Ciaran is sitting across from me.
Yay, it's me.
Yeah, Rob, if you didn't already hear, Rob got the coronavirus, and he'll be gone for 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because it takes 2 weeks.
It takes 2 weeks.
We know how long it takes now.
Yeah. We know.
We have the
we
antidote.
have the cure. We have everything. We have that vaccine that apparently exists that only rich people can get in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that. Oh, my God.
We got that.
Ooh, I did not hear about that.
Well, they've been doing, apparently there was a thing that, Nancy Pelosi came out being it's a big party for the U.S. to get a vaccine, which I don't know how you can make a vaccine for the common cold or a mutation of the common cold, because that is what coronavirus technically is.
Is it? Interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
No, it's a flu, I thought. Influenza?
No.
It's a cold?
It's a cold. It's just a brutal as shit cold.
Wait, I thought it's a virus.
I mean, coronavirus is a classic.
Well, it's called coronavirus.
It's when you're just you and your boys, or
Coronabacteria.
Yeah, coronabacteria is when you and your boys, you go to Rocky Point. You drink Coronas on the beach.
Yeah.
You think that you're in Mexico. You technically are, but there are only white people around.
Oh, I got that before.
Coronavirus is contracted when you go to Mexico and lick the side of a brewery.
You know what you need?
Because you're so drunk.
I know what helps against it. It's lime.
Well, if we actually go around our crazy different cultures, stupid home remedies, because in Ireland it was Sprite that had been let to go flat.
That's in the US too. Flat Sprite's definitely warm Sprite's definitely a thing as well.
Yeah,
so that's tasty?
No, it's disgusting.
Oh.
You can try it.
It's you got rid of all sicknesses apparently.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
It actually does the opposite because there's sugar in it. It's bad for you.
My mom always said drink Sprite when you have a cold and drink cola when you have diarrhea. So yeah, literally.
Imagining Julia's household. You're just going for a Coke and your mom's like, and they're no, I just want a Coke.
I just want a Coke, Mom.
I like the idea of only drinking soda.
Exactly. Soda helps against everything.
Just on the toilet. Just downing
it doesn't stop.
This will stop me up real quick.
It would be Salzstangen, so salty pretzels.
Oh yeah, salty pretzels. Yeah.
And cola. Coke.
Interesting. Yeah. So if you guys have got the coronavirus,
that's why they serve them everywhere.
Exactly, so that you don't get diarrhea from all the bacteria.
Alcohol that you're consuming.
And the bacteria that is because people don't wash their hands after going to the toilet in bars.
Yeah. That is a fucking weird Anglo thing.
I know.
That is such a
That's why I mentioned it.
I saw so many weird conservatives on Twitter flexing that they're I don't wash my hands.
Yeah, you're such a man.
Damn, that's cool.
My pee standing up, touch my pee-pee, and then I don't wash my hands.
That's exactly what every dude sounds like.
Why is there 2 Ciarans in the room right now? So weird.
Yeah, but all joking aside, this week is shit. Been shit so far.
Yep.
We have a big, massive downer of an episode. So, mix up your promethazine and your lean.
Strap in.
Lean.
Yeah. Sorry, your promethazine and codeine, and
more like the codeine kind of.
You need both to make lean, obviously.
Okay,
and we're just going to be a massive downer of an episode. Everything's going to be really slow, chopped and screwed. We're going to repeat ourselves all the time.
This will sound like a normal episode if you listen at 1.5 speed, I do.
But I guess we're going to start in Hamburg because there were elections. We were not going to touch this until they decided. So the SPD won by a fucking landslide.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got 53% of just the popular vote, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. We have the chart pulled up.
Yeah, we do. It's 39.2, but that's 15 points ahead of the next person.
Oh, it's with
53.
It's with the coalitions that they started getting to these whatever.
Who knows what they're doing?
They got 54 seats, which is 43.9% of seats.
That's why.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is that alone would be that the SPD could go into coalition with Die Linke. They could go into coalition with the Greens and be comfy. They do
very
not
comfy.
Need...
The Greens came second.
Yeah. With how many seats did the Greens have?
33.
Okay.
They gained, Die Linke gained, like points as far as I know.
Yep.
Yeah, SPD lost points.
Yeah, SPD is so strong though in Hamburg it doesn't. Really
I know.
make a fucking
They've
difference.
always been strong, and they've always been kind of shitty.
They've also been one of the most reactionary SPD parties.
You all know our beautiful Olaf Scholz is
How
now
the
like a
mighty have
ministerial position.
They like didn't the SPD in Hamburg just like sell off all the public assets to
Exactly.
be
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Olaf Scholz
Nice
is also
people.
the one who was just like justifying a lot of like police brutality
Exactly,
shit.
and that is a big thing in Hamburg, especially
Yeah.
with having like a big anarchist community in Hamburg.
In
And
the like G20
the
stuff.
G20,
Yeah, exactly. He was the
yeah.
mayor of Hamburg
Yeah.
during that. Yeah. Big old bitch.
Mayor Hamburger.
Mayor Hamburg.
Mayor-
Please. Mayor Hamburger McCheese. This is
that is Olaf Scholz just in general. He's just a massive dude in a hamburger costume.
we have a new
the Hamburglar.
But you see, the thing that the Mayor Hamburger McCheese is like a title. It's not actually a name because it has been passed on to the new SPD Mayor Hamburger McCheese, which is a Peter Chencher. Did I get that right?
Chencher, yeah.
Chencher.
Not spelt as you would imagine it being spelled. Lots of T's. And,
Chencher.
yeah, so they
That's how German would pronounce like Bosch or something like that. Bosch. Bosch.
That does the Chencher, like that just sounds like a really, really racist German person saying, "Oh yeah, you people always just sound the same." Chencher.
Yep.
they would make a song about it.
Be number one for ages.
Yeah. So the SPD is already within themselves the option of making two coalitions with Die Linke or with the Greens.
Yep.
They went into talks with the Greens that are obviously probably going to go through because the Greens will mold themselves into anything possible in order to get into a coalition.
Yeah.
Because they have no spines. This episode was supposed to be about them. It's not going to be about that anymore. You'll get your big, massive European
Dunking on
Party.
the Greens.
Yeah, it's coming. Don't worry. But the SPD in
Green Party
good,
Palooza.
yeah, in good SPD, I don't, just tradition, heritage, honor,
Yeah.
Honor.
dumb
Wait.
words,
They saw
blood and soil, nationalism.
they saw the data, they saw the slight downward trajectory they're on, and they
they're
were like,
let's fuck this up even more.
let's go.
Wait, the Grand Coalition always went well.
Yeah.
Everyone is happy with that, right? Let's do it.
I'm just thinking of like someone shouting, "If I can't be the best, I'll certainly be the worst."
Yeah, and now there's been discussions. I've only really seen this kind of on Twitter and within the like weird centrist SPD fanboys and whatnot that they want to now open discussions up between the SPD, the Greens, and the CDU.
Yeah.
Because why? Or why not, for that matter?
Grün, schwarz, rot. Grün, schwarz.
Yeah.
So we all know who's gonna be like the mayor. It's that one FDP guy.
Yeah, it's Peter. Why? Like, I'm looking at the chart of the results. I'm just like, why even list it as the Free Democratic Party? Just list it as that guy's name.
Dude, who the fuck is this dude from the CDU who looks like constipated Patton Oswalt?
Yeah, right. Marcus Wine Mountain.
Yeah.
Markus Weinberg.
Yeah, they all have very funny names, I gotta say. Like
Yeah.
Mr. Wine Mountain.
I just like the idea that in the fine like Stadt Bundesland tradition of Hamburg, of you are birthed onto you a child and then you have to give him the last name of like a mundane object that's around you.
Yeah, like
Wine
Sweeping
Mountain.
Bank and the Wine Mountain.
Yeah, I will name you Jan Tassa.
Meat beater, because that's what I was doing when you were born.
Wait.
Don't yuck people's yum. That's what they're into.
But I mean, this is just like, there's really not much more to say about it. Simply just that it is.
I feel like we have to stress, because we have the numbers in front of us, but I cannot stress enough that they want a SPD, Greens, CDU coalition, even though they already had well and truly a majority with just the SPD and the Greens.
Yeah.
Like, why are they being brought? Why are you doing this?
So what is that going to be? Like they are sitting together and there's like this like small group of people that are not invited to sit with them. Kind of like
It's Mean Girls.
yeah.
Yeah, you
But-
cannot sit with us.
Well, but Mean
it's
Girls is like 4 people.
Four
people.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
here it's like the majority is like in the is part
it's
of the Mean
it's
Girls.
like 75% of parliament. And the thing that really bugs me too, and I actually just realized it now, this looking at the data.
Yeah.
Stats.
Sorry, that's
My
that's news.
screenshot of Wikipedia.
Yeah. No, and the thing that then really bothersome about this is that, in my opinion, if you want to do a 3-party coalition that just is bonkers
Do
in
it
numbers,
with- oh.
do red, red, green. Like
Yeah, I
you
love
have
it.
like
No, I
that
mean,
to me.
Not that I love it, but
Yeah, I mean, to solidify yourself then against the right in Germany, you could be like, if you're the SPD, you'd be like, all right, we can go in this coalition and we're going to make good, solid policy. The thing that then at least I see in my eyes of what this does is that then it solidifies this weird SPD position that then Sigmar Gabriel obviously said last episode is that
wait, Sigmar Gabriel was on.
he was on, guest, on the Joe
Friend
Rogan
of the show.
friend of the show, Ziggy. He had this thing about the left.
Anti-fascist Ziggy.
Yeah, anti-fascism by saying that the left is just as bad as the right, and that's what this coalition is doing.
Yeah.
I know.
Because it justifies the dumb center,
Yeah.
and then it's seeing that then like, oh, see, Die Linke and the and the AfD are equivalent.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like after what happened in Thuringia, whatever you pronounce, however you.
We didn't. I don't know if you listened to the episode. We don't know.
Okay, I call it Thüringen.
So just call it Thüringen.
Yeah, after what happened in Thüringen, it's like, this the CDU like backed up AfD and like and those weird FDP.
They would
people.
never do that in Hamburg.
And it's like, they won't do it because we got them in our coalition, so they can't work with them. They can't. It's like
This is real.
Oh, Marcus, you're the prettiest girl at the ball. Everyone wants to dance with Marcus Wine Mountain.
It's like, before they do that, we gotta get them.
But I really like the idea that if this coalition went ahead, they would just be like, aha, we've kept the, extremities of politics out. Die Linke and AfD and whatever that one FDP lad is on about, just sitting in the middle
you
of the...
know what they're about.
Oh yeah, the FDP has already had their mask off moment. We know that they're just crypto fascists, and they'll use any excuse whatsoever to get power, and that means, what does that mean then? If your ideology is just market fundamentalism, I'll be a Nazi if I got to. Like, I'll kiss fucking Bjorn Höcke's asshole. Like,
I think it is like a case of, if we're continuing the Mean Girls metaphor,
Yes.
the FDP is Gretchen Wiener just being like, stop trying to make fascism happen. Stop it. It's never going to happen. Shut up. And also they're just only there because they managed to buy their way in, basically.
absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
But we'll see how this like develops. It really is just dumb.
Yeah.
It really obviously for like it really just perfectly summarizes the fact of why the SPD is a useless party now, and like why they could have done the smart thing. They could have seen the momentum of them being a social democratic party and like, okay, maybe we should then, like I said, move ourselves closer to like the Linke. And
maybe we should listen to the rest of the like party right now, or like the junge SPD.
Yuzo.
Yuzo,
yeah.
Thank you. I was thinking about the Junge Union because they're just there.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're great.
In my head and in my heart.
A bunch of 12-year-olds that look like they're 50. I don't understand how it happens.
Sexy.
Some sort of time travel machine that only ages your body. I don't get it. But this is strange because I don't understand how, because my understanding of like SPD's position was that like this was a particularly like national like Bundestag situation of like, okay, we're going to go into the Grand Coalition. It's to keep AfD out, blah, blah, blah. It's bad for us. At the end of the last election, we like explicitly said we don't want to go back into coalition.
Exactly. Yeah.
There was this huge movement that tried to stop us.
Yep.
And then it just happens at the state level. It's just like, what if we didn't have to do it, but we just did? Hey, why not? I'd really like to talk to Marcus and sell more of the city to him. Build him his own wide mountain.
Yeah. And this
It's kind of like, keep your enemies close or something.
no, it's bros before.
Of course.
I don't know what Die Linke would be.
Preventing.
Hoofeisen.
Yeah.
Bros before Genosse.
Bros before Genosse.
Damn, why isn't it bras before No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, but I don't know. I get like a real like sense of the SPD and the CDU's like GroKo thing kind of like is mirroring what we saw with Ireland's last elections, of like with them being so confident with Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil that then when they do have an opportunity where then like the big parties drop off, because you have to remember like GroKo in pretty much every single Bundesland is a normal thing.
Yeah.
And when you have a situation like this, they have like a moment of panic being like, wait, people don't like this? Well, they don't know what's good for them. Let me sell off the rest of the city.
Why won't people buy? Look, I've turned the entire port of Hamburg into Wine Mountain. Who's it? What's the first thing you think of when you think of Hamburg, port city? No, you think of Wine Mountain. All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, speaking of ports and selling ports off.
Ooh, excellent. Good transition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Greece. Yeah. Hitting you with that favorite country of Europe that is totally okay because they have a conservative government. And Europe is just going to completely ignore that the entire country is falling apart.
Doing fine over here.
They continuously ignore my very good plan for Greece, which is to turn it into Europe's Florida. We need to get Universal Studios onto Crete. It will be cool.
Can we have a Disneyland? Can we have a Disneyland on Rhodos or something?
Yeah, but I'm just imagining, like, have you seen those, like, really weird, because this is, like, a thing that, like Zionists do to, like, show, like, oh, look at, like, like Hamas Mickey Mouse. It's, like, a really, like...
Wait, what?
Yeah, have you never seen that?
No.
It's like they take Mickey Mouse...
Something like
Don't say Hamas Mickey Mouse.
Is it something like Pregnant Sonic or something?
No. It'll be like...
It's very
it's
hot,
like a,
yes.
It's like a... I don't know how real it is, because I think a lot of it's just mostly propaganda from, like, the Israeli state of, like, this is why we have to then, like, be mean to Palestine because they're indoctrinating kids by getting, like, a Hamas version of Mickey Mouse. It's just, like, a really poorly made Mickey Mouse suit that then is telling you to, like...
Worker and parasite.
But I'm literally imagining fucking, the fucking Disneyland on Crete having just like the same vibes as that Mickey Mouse costume.
Can it be like an Orthodox Mickey Mouse or something?
I'm just imagining Mickey Mouse just chain smoking.
Can there be a lot of gold in the castle?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It'll bankrupt the entire fucking island, but it'll have gold on it.
But it also has to be white and blue. Oh, isn't the Disney castle already white and blue?
Yep.
Oh my
this
God,
branding already
put it on
works.
Santorini.
Yes.
Wait, like ever since
This is Greek fucking like dad knowledge, like just fucking dad hours.
Yep.
Like you see the fucking Disney castle is blue and white
Because it's actually Greek.
It's actually Greek. No, it'll work. We'll save so much money because they Euro Disney rebranded Disneyland Paris. We just take all those Euro Disney signs, we just paint them slightly and turn them into Gyrodisney. It'll be fine. It'll be great. Goofy, I think, is Turkish now. Just constantly falling over himself.
Well, actually,
Donald Duck is Bulgarian.
of course he is.
Minnie Mouse is Macedonian, which is to say Greek.
Yeah,
And beautiful.
Beautiful.
should be married to Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse is the Hellenic state. All of its entirety.
Of course. No, but it's already kind of the Florida of Europe, because at least for Germans, because a lot of Germans move there when they're retired.
Yeah.
Oh, Germans on the islands.
And it's insane.
Also, we were thinking, I think we've mentioned before in the podcast, but it's in the canon of just like the far right getting power in Greece, which they've done, but they haven't done the anti-migrant plan of filling the Aegean Sea with alligators.
They're so close to it though now, which is like this is so Greece has now currently, as of 9:27 p.m. on the 28th of February when we were recording this episode, 3 confirmed cases of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
You would think any normal 3. You would think any normal country would be like, okay, let's find out where this came from. The people vacationed in Italy, came back. They went to. They ended up in, I think, Thessaloniki. All 3 cases, and the Greek government was like, "Okay, this is why we have to crack down on refugees, on Syrian refugees."
Yep, because of course Syrians all have the coronavirus.
Yeah, and
It's just like, well, they're in these like squalid conditions. They're just all hanging out together. It's very easy. They don't have proper sanitation. It's very easy for diseases to
they're
spread.
going to Italy left and right. Coming back.
Constantly holidays.
Holidays in Sicily.
They come back.
You get nothing, but you get a holiday in Sicily.
They come back. They tell me that Mickey Mouse is American. I don't like this. But no, like it's just like they're in these squalid conditions. There's lots of clinical diseases. Blah blah blah. I was like, sir, have you considered improving the conditions? It's like, no, we won't be doing that.
Well, no, Greece has, which is in one of the most vile ways possible for a country that then is just notorious for building island concentration camps throughout its history.
Yeah, and that weird wall they're now thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
That water wall.
That already exists
Water wall. Sounds
now.
like Wonder Wall.
Yeah. You're my water wall.
Yeah. Oh god.
That was Kyriakos Mitsotakis singing that to Erdogan.
Yeah.
On a baluki. God, I fucking hate when you're at a party in Greece and there's that one lad who shows up with a baluki and starts playing Oasis. Bazooki, sorry. Bazooka.
Bazooka, yes. I hate when you go to a party and they just start throwing Molotov cocktails everywhere. It just sucks.
Yeah. You know what? They're just doing it for the girls' attention.
No, but yeah, it's a serious thing. Even though we're laughing about it.
Yeah, no, it's dire. Like I tried to get like decent images to like communicate the absolutely shit show of the situation, but there isn't really. I strongly recommend just watching any videos of any like news company that's gone down the ground to like show all the riots, everything that's happening in that situation.
Yeah, so we are very, outspoken politically, and it's like it's been.
As the one lady in the picture that we have.
Yeah, say it. Like, I haven't seen the video, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, so I explained that. I was watching France 24's coverage of this, and they just had, like, in what looks like a very empty square, this is in Lesbos, of this one woman talking about the situation, and she's just yelling at the camera in Greek, being like...
The government should go drown themselves.
The government should go drown themselves.
Yes.
For, if I remember the rest of it, for how they've handled the situation. I was like, I love this. I'm sure that's, like... 2 words, but still.
So I guess it's like we have to like back up of like obviously like before going into it, like the situations on islands like Lesbos and Chios and stuff like that are atrocious.
Yeah.
And they have been incredibly underfunded because of a country that then has been just the Greek economy is still flatlined. I think that we've forgotten about that collectively as Europe after Nea Demokratia won their election.
Everyone's now it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, because now like fucking yields of fucking Greek assets are positive for the first time.
Finally getting their own wine mountain.
It is.
You get a wine mountain.
You can go down it and at Greek Disneyland.
Greek Disneyland.
But yeah, so like the conditions, like I don't want to like sugarcoat it in any way and being like, oh, these are just bad now because of the current right wing government. However, now like the solution from it, which I can understand that then you want to like Greece has been really bad about any form of like trying to like integrate the refugees that they have into society.
Yeah.
And people have been in countless reports of these camps that are only available for like 1,000 to 5,000 people being completely overflowed since the Syrian civil war. And now the Greek government has under Mitsotakis has then taken the initiative of like, we're going to build new camps that can contain them, which I would think that that's more money than just trying to do like actual like programs of like trying to get people set on their feet in a society. I mean, I can understand, okay, to a degree, Greece has crippling unemployment still currently. It's difficult for a country that then is very poor, but a country that then has always had like, and I think we've maybe like briefly have touched upon this with other things of like the idea of then the island as a place of detention has a really bad place within Greek history typically. So it's like the Civil War, the British and the Nazis sympathizers that they ended up backing used these islands off the coast of Piraeus and whatnot. There's a famous one that no one goes to still anymore that then they didn't even bother trying to like resettle it or anything. That was just a prison island that people just brought to. In a lot of cases just kind of like left there and neglected. During the military dictatorship, islands were then often used then as prison settlements as well, and there are these vivid things within
Italy
the last.
did that too.
Yeah.
Italy did that. Turkey does it. There's
exactly.
like a thing about islands being prisons.
Yeah. I mean, like, and the thing that then that you're gonna then trying to convince people that then that these are measures. I mean, you have to think about the Greek military dictatorship. Ended in the mid 70s, late 70s. So that's what one generation. Then that's like the baby boomer generation. That then at least like I mean
definitely
like,
he was still alive.
Yeah. That's still within the memory of people whose families then were sent there. This and that. Like I think that it's really understated how bad that dictatorship was in history. We ignore it completely because it's a Western.
People
success.
don't know about that actually. People don't know Greek. Like Greece had a dictator. There, like everyone. Okay, Spain.
They didn't have one. They had like 12, which is wild.
Yeah.
In a military council.
I mean, people are talking about Spain and Italy, obviously, Germany. I mean, but like for the ones that go further, like to the 70s and shit like that, nobody's speaking about Greece. Nobody fucking knows.
I think Spain takes all that attention. No one talks about
Portugal.
Greece. Portugal's the other.
Exactly.
But I think you mentioned this actually last episode, Nick, and it's completely right because you talked about it as if it was happening in Greece, but I think it's also happening in the rest of the world's understanding of Greece because obviously Greece controls its own message to a certain extent. Of just like there's this complete ignoring of Greek modern history, like the last thing the Greeks ever did, as far as anyone should be concerned,
make everything in the ancient world.
The classical period. So like people's understanding of Greece is still like the birthplace of democracy, quote unquote.
Something that they've never had in the modern era, which is the most hilarious fucking thing. Yeah. It's hilarious that then that you continuously hear people like dumbass fucking Ben Shapiro being Athens, Jerusalem, and Rome, and those three places do not have democracy right now.
But like. 100%, no one. I think your average person on the street could not tell you what happened since World War II in Greece. Couldn't tell you what happened during World War II in Greece. Like
95% of the population of Thessaloniki that was Jewish is completely wiped out.
I think the most recent history would not even happen in Greece, but the only thing closely related would be like World War I Battle of Gallipoli. With that, like Greek was involved.
Greece wasn't even technically involved in World War One.
Yeah,
like, it just happened to happen near it.
Yeah,
I think the only thing people know is stuff about the financial crisis. So the bad Greek people
because they're lazy.
And Souvlaki. Or Euros.
So
so like for them,
Gyrodisney.
And this country where you can
it's just going to like a nice
island and being lazy, like
or
the Greek
an
people.
island being and having a fun time with Lindsay Lohan on Mykonos.
I mean that's good. That's the only good thing in Greece. But like Portugal's in a very similar situation of just like I don't think anyone knows their 20th century history.
Absolutely.
I think the only reason some people know things about Spain is because it's Spain. It's a big country by European standards. It's kind of hard to ignore.
Franco, though, is also like definitely put into a different category of like, he was a dictator, but he wasn't that kind of dictator. Depending on like what kind of Western, like Americans do not see Franco as bad typically.
I mean, there's I think I showed it to you before, but there's that famous like Chevy Chase clip of when he was on SNL. He was like, he did a sketch. So SNL always did that like News of the Week thing.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase did a sketch of like talking about the death of Franco because it just happened when he was like, oh, Franco died. And like he reads out the quote from, I think, Nixon at the time, being like, oh, he was a good man. While the picture in the background is him doing a Roman salute with Hitler. Yeah. and everyone's laughing. Like there was people who knew about this. Yeah. But again, I think the reason was, again, because it's Spain, it's big. Everyone knows Spain. They speak like the third most spoken language in the world. There was a lot. I think you just had to do more for the West, they had to do more image management than they did for Portugal or Greece. You could just forget about that.
I want to know who their like PR campain is. Funny thing that you mentioned the Nixon administration with the
fuck Jerry.
Yo, meme. Let's fucking meme Franco into good standing with everyone.
God, I hate that video where Franco shakes the mouth of a dog.
But exactly speaking about really funny thing about that Nixon, that there's a connection with Nixon. The Nixon administration and the image of Greece is that Spiro Agnew, who was his vice president before Gerald Ford, was Greek American, and continuously went to Greece to like show that the military dictatorship was cool and good. And that's just completely forgotten about. I mean, obviously, like, it was never Nixon himself going, but the fact that then, like, the Nixon administration was like, hey, we have this, like, Greek-American dude as our vice president who says that this is good what they're doing.
This is good.
Yeah.
Trust the Americans.
And then, and it's just like a wild little, like, just like, like, most people would see that as, like, a somewhat insignificant part of American history. But it's just so fucking wild that they just use this thing of like, yep, our Greek dude in the White House says that it's good, so it must be good. And a lot of just like bizarre, weird justifications happen that then I think like Clinton in the 90s finally was like, never admitted that. So this is a thing that's too, is that like you'll never find actual evidence, hard evidence that the CIA overthrew it, but it's just kind of thing that then like miraculously everyone who was stationed in Athens just magically appears in every like overthrown government in the 80s in South America. So you can just kind of like... I mean, the reason that no one in the Western world, the Western English-speaking world, thinks that this happened is because the CIA literally just went on like a fucking marketing campaign. Like, we didn't do it, but it's good that happened. Like, there's an article from the Washington Post that you can still find, and I post it on Twitter occasionally, of our man in Athens says it wasn't us, and it's written by the head of the CIA in Athens. It's like, well...
That's the end of that chapter. Yeah. But going back to, I think, the current situation, the islands as prisons, I think one other thing that's leading to a lot of tension right now is
our favorite country in Europe.
No. So before we move on, is that like Lesbos, it's like a VB sound, isn't it?
It's a V. Yeah. B's don't exist in Greek unless you put M's and P's together.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like in your last name.
Like in my last name.
Anyway, in Lesbian Island.
Whoa.
Probably a joke everyone has made.
We're that kind of humor.
Yeah.
Your parents can listen to this podcast and find it funny.
We're widening the demographic. Lesbos has got this thing of, it's not a small island. Like,
no,
people live there, and that's where a lot of the riots are coming from.
That is where Ouzo comes from as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It has to come
tasty.
from Lesbos.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's one of those things. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just sparkling
sparkling wine.
No, then it's
sparkling liquor vodka,
then
like champagne.
Yeah, then it's Raki or whatever. The protests have been insane. They've been like trying to firebomb military like installations and shit.
Yeah.
It's cool.
There's something about the Greek mindset that is just like, you see a fully clad like riot police officer and just like, yeah, I could take that.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Like, we were like at demonstrations in... Can I tell the story?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
In Piraeus, about, because it was about like the, like, you call it anniversary? Yeah. That always sounds like celebration, but to me, because it's like happy anniversary. Anniversary. No, it was of the death of Pavlos Fisas, so Killer P. Yeah, he was killed by Golden Dawn members. He was like knifed down in Piraeus at this like in the street, which is now named Pavlos Fisas, like street or place, like this plaza. No, I'm mixing languages.
It's plaza. You can say it.
Okay. And we were there, and we were like marching down in the direction, like protesting in the direction of like going to the harbor, to the port of Piraeus, where there was a Golden Dawn office.
I think that they closed it now. Did you hear about
rightfully
that? Yeah,
so.
They couldn't afford to keep their office open anymore.
Good. And then like. Okay, like about this like Greek mindset or like the Greek mindset.
I can take on the fucking riot police.
So they were like young like girls or something, like maybe 13 years old with their like mom. And then the girl, like as soon as we went, like there was a police, suddenly the police was there. They weren't there before. Like they are like protecting in quotes. like a protest like we know it from Germany or something, you just like go, you just do it, you just like and then suddenly there was a police, so she was like putting on her like ski mask or like her t-shirt, her black bandana over her mouth, and mom was like, okay, for me it sounded like, oh yeah, be safe, girl, and like she was picking up the stones like from the street and just like running to the front. And
it's definitely this like idea then of like, you know, Allah will protect me. Like, I am going up against a hyper militarized police force
who immediately shot tear gas at us.
They like Greek police are fucking stupid. But you know,
your mom says, fight for the cause.
Mom says, kill a cop.
Yep.
But you know, it's I mean, I guess just to like wrap this up is that like one, Greek protest mentality is insane and good, and I really wish that like, and I think it's like French protest mentality is also pretty similar in a sense too.
Yeah.
Germans fucking nut up.
Sorry,
like,
you have to unmelden your demo.
Oh yeah,
everyone has to know about it. Then the police comes to protect you. Like protect the Nazis. I think that's.
I really want to find out what it is, because personally I kind of like the kind of conventional wisdom is kind of some sort of weird leftist phrenology of just like, oh, French people just do that or whatever. But
there's a historical reason for it.
Yeah, this is the thing that I want to examine, because like for Greece it's very obvious, like the kind of like economic like material conditions have just gotten so fucking dire that like you lash out. But France, it's like got very similar material conditions to like other Northern European countries, but then you have this slight transgression against anything like the chipping away of like the raising of retirement age. Like, that just happened in Ireland as well, and Ireland is much worse off than France, and we're still just doing kind of the very German style protests of they're bigger now, but I
think that what comes from the sense of Ireland is that then there is like the continuous looming threat of if you do anything extreme, it'll immediately be branded as an IRA shit, and no one really wants to have that label. Probably. And whenever there are things that then are done in the name of the IRA, the most recent thing that I can think of is the murdering of the journalist. Which the quote unquote IRA group that did it was just a reactionary group of fucking weirdos.
They weren't any like major branch of the IRA, and all the major branches of the IRA were just like, no, this isn't us.
Yeah. So I think
Didn't they say something like, if you stand with the police, you have to like because she was like in the area of
she was like behind
them. If you stand with them, then you have to like expect to get
dodgy.
But I mean, it really does. But I like just to kind of go back to then the sense of the unique situation of Ireland is that, I mean, even look in the sense of if Sinn Féin gets elected and everyone just starts throwing the IRA card around. Ireland had a very, very, very violent conflict not too long ago. Unlike where the history, which then gets resolved and everyone's supposed to then just pretend that then everything's okay. And colonialism for Ireland then functioned in a more financial sense, where I think that the looming threat of your next door neighbor being your biggest enemy towards then your independence could then, at least from at least just like the perspective that I see just historically, is that then I think a lot of people just don't want to be bothered with aggregating that even more.
You don't have something like that with like in France, because like
it was a colonial power that's actually quite like no one's going to step in France.
I'm just saying like every time like resistance, like because you have this like myth and also like the like historical fact of la résistance being something that was very good for the country, like fighting against Vichy,
Nazi occupation.
And there you still have the Jean Moulin Museum in Paris, for example, who was the leader of the Resistance, and you commemorate this as a good thing, as something that freed France, like young people dying for, like there was like there's like this thing in, I think, is it in La Marais, I don't know, one of the quarters in at the Seine, and you have this sign up about like this 18-year-old, or maybe younger than 18, I don't know, resistance fighter who died there. So they have it all over the city, like little like plaques and shit like that. So they they remember and see like la resistance or resistance against like even if it's a French regime like you had in Vichy, as something like a positive thing, you know. Not everyone, of course. Like you have a lot of reactionary people in France, but
Fiji
like
cranks,
but protest and resistance is seen as something that doesn't have a bad connotation. In the sense.
It's glamorized a little bit because, like, even the traditional images of modern France is just all based in the French Revolution as well.
Exactly. You have like this
the woman with her breasts out.
Yeah, exactly. And a red flag. So boobs and
topless France. Because that woman is meant to be France, I guess.
Yeah, she is.
Cool. Yeah, France is topless. That makes sense. But like, it is interesting because I feel like that is a big question. I guess that is the reason, but it's a sad reason to hear because it's like France is resisting to just this like these tiny bits of change, like tiny in the scale that we've all kind of like all modern European countries have experienced it, like the neoliberalism, basically the austerity, the selling off of public goods to private interests.
History's over.
Yeah, history's over. But the thing that's really sad about all this of just like, oh, why does France resist? Is like historical reasons. Like, cool. So we can't really recreate that in other countries. Yeah, because it's kind of hard to hear that because it would be nice to like look at France and be like, okay, we just take this and put it over here.
Let's install a regime de Vichy
I guess
in Bergisch Gladbach. No, wait, we had the Nazis. We had enough of them.
Bergisch Gladbach did not, in fact, have the Nazis.
But I guess that kind of explains also like why the Gilets jaunes in like I'm never going to stop pronouncing it that way.
Gilets jaunes.
The Gilets jaunes, Gilets jaunes. Why, when that was exported to basically every country except for Wallonia, like French-speaking Belgium, did it turn into like weird chemtrails reactionary bullshit?
So they were just out there, but they wore like full like neon yellow bodysuits,
flat earthers,
spraying like vinegar in the sky to protect them from camp.
Because like I think for the European elections, I showed you that guy in Ireland who kept like smacking the signs with the hurley stick.
Yeah, dude, that guy was sick. Now he's a bad boy.
But like even then he was Irish Gilly Jeunes. Like he was like, we're going to go on the protests and defend the little guy, and it was all these banners being like, take the fluoride out of the water, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
No,
it's I don't know. But I guess so. Just slightly back to the problem at hand of Greece.
Oh yeah.
The thing that then's on top of it making then all of this worse is that then when you have a hyper right-wing reactionary government in one country and your neighboring country who's been a big baller in being a hyper reactionary right-wing government, you have massive tensions between Greece and Turkey right now, where then Turkey's doing military drills in Turkey, in Greece. Sorry, it's not Turkey. In fact, you have then the Mitsotaki's government saying they're going to close the border because of whatever reason it is.
Coronavirus,
closing the border. Yeah, literally is using just fucking Greek racist mentality of like anything is the Turks' fault.
But it's also just it's disaster. Like it's the shock therapy stuff of like there's another disaster, this is another excuse.
It's the Muslims' fault.
Yeah, but it's just another excuse to like clamp down.
No, of course, absolutely. But it really is just like these fucking this like gymnastics of getting to the point of that. It really just is any excuse then to escalate tensions with Turkey. So they've like Greece is then as Erdogan had been doing for years of just like ending up in conferences with Tsipras being like, oh yeah, we're gonna maybe think about like re-annexing a few islands. They're just like, wait, what? Like in a conference? But now it's come to the fact that you have a hyper right-wing reactionary government in Greece now, and yes, Nea Demokratia is hyper right-wing reactionary shit. We have a whole episode about how just they are literally a manifestation of a neo-Nazi party.
It's the only episode that has a semantic title. It's called Nea Demokratia La Lega Bad.
And so there's been these escalating border tensions, and now then, as of today, which has made this even worse, is that Erdogan thinks Idlib is his.
Yep.
Which now Greece closed the border because of all this weird stuff.
Yeah, they closed the border in Evros, which is next to Edirne, where actually there is what I just got today, that there are buses leaving for Edirne.
That the Turkish government is paying for.
Probably.
Yeah, they absolutely
it's confirmed. I just know that there are transports provided because Erdogan tries to blackmail the EU. Because the situation in Idlib is that you had a weird kind of fucking deal with keeping northwest Syria as a security area. I don't know who is secure in this area.
ISIS.
Yeah. And you had Assad's troops, so the Syrian army, actually going forward into this area, trying to take back Idlib. Because it was one of the last Hochburgen,
strongholds
of the rebel. So
we need to really classify who these rebels are.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah,
there were videos that then. All right, so Idlib was, and I'm going to use the word freely on this podcast. You can then, everyone can fucking yell at me about this. Idlib was liberated by Assad's military. You can. I think that Assad is not good. I think that then his whole weird version of weird hyper nationalist whatever fucking project is bad. Idlib was controlled by Al Qaeda and Al Nusra and shit like that. And there are videos upon videos of after Idlib being liberated. Oh, it's just jihadis jihadist forces in here too. There were so many videos of then these forces. I don't think to emphasize how absolutely horrible they were. Of after Idlib, people in the streets of Idlib were celebrating that the Syrian army was back because there are and this was on Twitter literally last week, 2 weeks ago, of just resurfacing of old videos that Al Qaeda was using as propaganda of just getting massive amounts of people just publicly executing them daily. These were people who were defending hospitals and shit like that, and whatnot. And I don't think that then it's clear because we always heard Idlib of the sense of a stronghold for the rebels. And this is good for the West. These people were absolutely murderous, no different than fucking ISIS, shit like that. They were not some weird West. The idea of a Western-backed moderate rebel is not a thing. It never was really a thing up in maybe the very beginning when the fucking amalgamate of the fucking made up Free Syrian Army existed for 2 seconds, and they've all fled and joined ISIS or gave their weapons to ISIS. It never was a true thing. So Idlib was controlled by, as our chart literally says here, jihadists. And I think that it's.
I mean, that sounds like a secure area for Erdogan.
Of course it does, it's been no secret that then obviously Turkey has been working with Al Qaeda, with Al Nusra, with ISIS.
That
there's been a massive network of connections between the Turkish, deep state, if you want to call it that.
Deep state.
It's
also. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh no. You can go.
It's also been working with them indirectly. So there's footage of ISIS patched. Can you call it?
Patched in ISIS
members.
I hate when they do that new update on ISIS and they patched in.
Patched in ISIS and
something went wrong in the update and they're all speaking Turkish now.
What is it called? I don't know, the tanks M2 or something. German
made
tanks.
Yeah.
Who got them? Who sent them? Turkey got them.
Yep.
Where did they come from? I don't know. Maybe just Turkey left them there.
Yeah, this reminds me of that classic.
I just gonna leave that here and.
There's no way they could have gotten it. Germany doesn't border Turkey.
No.
Yeah.
All this, you know what? Cue the 3-6 Mafia song "Who Run It."
Yeah, those are the situations. So this is the background. we could go deeper because this is like a big topic, but
it's happening right now. It's kind of hard, but I thought we did think that this was important enough to do a half of an episode about it. Yeah. It all kind of ties in.
Yeah.
But
so and there was something happening just yesterday I think, and that was an attack on Turkish forces by Russian airstrikes, as far as I know.
You mean like that this country that was not in the region beforehand ended up in the region and then was attacked by those people who were in the region who didn't want them there.
But when Assad's forces went to take back Idlib, Erdogan was kind of nervous, saying stuff like, "Okay, I'm gonna revenge it. I'm gonna invade it as well, or send troops, and you better back me up. You better help me, EU." So and everyone, everyone around, like NATO friends.
Wait,
that NATO? Lovely NATO video.
Oh no,
that lovely
are we
NATO
the baddies?
No, NATO's never a baddie. No. But just the lovely NATO video about why Turkey's the best member of it.
Yeah. Go to visit Turkey.
I get those ads all the time still on Twitter.
Go fight with Turkey.
Turkey's trying to catfish me.
Yeah.
I really like the idea that you will eventually just visit Turkey and just come back and I'm a grey wolf now. I just really like Turkey.
But so it was reported that 21 Turkish brave Turkish soldiers were just happened to die in a place that
21. There's more now.
Oh no!
I saw updates on ANF, so the ANF
Kurdish
news,
media.
That is supposedly. No, allegedly. Which word do I use?
Either one works.
Both
allegedly is better, probably.
Because it's not confirmed. 113 casualties.
I don't actually believe that. I feel that is a flex at that point.
Well, there's footage from a hospital. So all the people that all the soldiers, everyone that died, was brought to bordering cities in Turkey, and some hospitals were closed down for the normal official work of a hospital. So it's only a militarized zone now. So
you mean the country of Turkey is?
Yeah. So it's only for and there's footage of people saying so many martyrs died. So you say a lot of martyrs, oh my god. So we're transporting 21 out of the region right now. Oh, we have 53 corpses, martyrs. Sorry, they keep saying martyrs.
Russia, you are doing anti-fascism.
Oh no, it's come to this.
But that's the thing that
I choked on my own spit right now.
Yes.
That's the thing I'm wondering too, is that how much of them are actually Turkish military people, and how much of them are just patched in ISIS people?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there, but
what's the difference at this point?
Yeah.
Literally, there is none. That's the thing, is that Turkey has just been using ISIS as mercenaries, and then the video that then it happened with the offensive against the YPG earlier that we've talked about middle of last year, I believe it was, the episode that Kerem was on. Yeah. Go back to listen to that episode. Gives you probably a lot of context of similarities with this with what's going on currently right now, is that this expansion eastward from Erdogan, of that continuously using as a humanitarian excuse, and so on, so forth. Mm-hmm. But the thing that was always just so amazing was just the amount of videos of showing up of just extrajudicial executions happening on the side of the road and whatnot of these people who were saying that they were not in fact the Turkish military, they were quote unquote mercenaries, and then just very easy amount of research of just aligning faces that you find of pictures that have been for the Syrian civil war, matched a lot of them up with ISIS or other extreme groups and whatnot. And this, at least from if it is 130, I would doubt that all of those are actual personnel of the Turkish military.
Yeah, you have confirmed by the Turkish government. You have 22 confirmed.
Okay, but probably then in between.
I think it's more than the confirmed one, because Turkey always wants to pretty low when it comes to casualties on their own side.
Yeah. Every country does that, though.
Yeah. That's all that I know. The rest is like, okay, of course you don't get too many information because, like, of course they don't want to actually
turned off social media for a couple of days.
Exactly. There, so you have like the data of like NetBlog, and you see if anyone wants to look at it. You see a lot of like, you see Twitter down, Facebook down, Twitter down, especially Twitter, because Twitter would be like the
was this thing called Arab Spring. They're still very paranoid about that happening again, I guess.
Exactly. So Twitter would be, I guess, is a very, like, look at my social media. I use Instagram for fun and selfies. I use Twitter for politics.
Twitter is where we go to feel sad.
Yeah. And angry. And funny.
Come play in the void with me as I splash dark ether all over my body that never comes off.
Twitter is where I go and promote the expansion of the Turkish state. I don't know about you guys.
Like, visit Turkey. All right, I will. I'll bring Turkey to me.
Twitter was down. I think you said it was up again?
Did
you use it? Did you use Turkish Twitter?
Yeah, I used Turkish Twitter, and it was there was a very good like live. It's still going, like live coverage of all this stuff happening on Reddit, which is just gathering various other news sources. And they were reporting that earlier, the middle of today, like about 5:00 Central European time, that there was reports slowly coming back. Yeah. That all this internet stuff was coming back. Yeah.
Okay. So, but what we mentioned before, like we talked about the borders. So actually the border thing, the thing is like the EU has this disgusting deal with Erdogan that he would keep all the refugees in in Turkey and away from like the EU.
Away from Europe.
Yeah.
Europe proper.
Yeah.
Turkey.
The real Europe.
The real Europe.
EU. The real EU.
Yeah.
Why does it sound like the real IRA thing?
It's a good, like, if you can get that name. Like, if you're a paramilitary organization, make sure that there isn't another one or a splinter group that's called itself the real version.
The real EU.
That's it. That's what we're starting on this podcast. The real Grey Wolves.
Yo, fuck all the other Grey Wolves. This is the only true podcast of all your pro Erdogan knowledge.
Jesus Christ.
So with that disgusting deal, we already talked about that on the other episode. Like how that came into like play and why Germany and all the other fuckers.
Julia said a bad word on the podcast.
Beep.
Nope, it's too late now.
Shit.
This is live.
So like Macron, Merkel, those guys, those fuckers are saying right now, they're saying like, oh, Putin, you should not be so angry to stop bombing.
Yeah, like what the fuck was that?
Like Turkish forces.
Like literally, like the fact of the matter is that like the thing that I thought was the most ridiculous shit about today is that then a area that is controlled by Syria and Russia, and then like Turkey marches in and then being like, bro, why are you firing at us? What the fuck? Well, like this is ours. Like, don't you know the maps from 1873? Like, this was ours, man. The fuck?
Sorry, it's just we're too late season. We're too into the show. We can't start introducing new characters now. We just have to bring back the old ones. I know in the books it was originally Assad who controlled King's Landing, but we just have to make it Putin because everyone likes the actress who plays Putin. So
I was so flabbergasted about how this got turned into like Vladimir Putin being a bad boy. It's like you have like, I mean, I'm not comparing weird leaders of Europe.
Weird leaders of Europe.
They're all weird.
I want that quartet.
Yeah, no.
I'll make that calendar for you. They're all topless.
Ooh, yeah.
I always find it so funny how like the European mindset is like never actually really wanting to like critique Erdogan all that much. They're so afraid of him, but they're so afraid of a country that then is like, I mean, first off, the Turkish economy is just like also flatlining. Like it is in a garbage situation. Turkey
not
doesn't.
About that though.
I know it has nothing to do, but like it only comes down to the fact that then like Erdogan has so many like chips that he's holding because Europe is so racist.
Yeah,
it isn't that then like Turkey is like Turkey has given up its ambitions to join the European Union and all this shit. The fact that then Europe is then so racist to Turkey has just made Erdogan even more powerful within the Turkish diaspora here, as we've talked about on other episodes as well. But the fact of that then like you have these like really staged interviews now of like there's a case of then a person who was interviewed by Turkish media. Again, I'm saying it's staged because I'm assuming that most Turkish media is just staged. And as we saw within the attack on Rojava last year, with the case of the guy who was quote unquote on the front line, who then ended up being on top of a tower in the middle of Turkey
next to the other guy.
Next to the other guy, yeah.
It's like I'm calling in from blah blah blah. I'm talking to my friend, and this friend is not my friend, my colleague, and he's like at the front line right now, and he's like next to him.
Yeah, it is
something like that.
Yeah. Or like the case of then like them interviewing Kurdish people, who the Kurdish people, if they were translated properly, were complaining about how the Turkish forces were abusing them, raping people, and this and that and that. They just translated all that the YPG was doing that. So I have no faith in the media that's coming out. But the thing that's been coming out the last day, miraculously, has been one-on-one interviews with refugees saying that, oh, yeah, you know, we love the Turkish people. They're so nice to us, but there's more of us coming. There's 2 million more of us coming tomorrow.
Yeah,
is literally what is quoted in
one.
the interview.
Yeah.
And it's like, Europe, please let us in, which is like, to be very fair, like on the other side of it, Europe did a shit job with dealing with this thing, as we've also have talked about. But the fact that there's just like, I don't believe that. Like, I really, really, really don't. It's all like, you have to like, was it Idlib or Aleppo that then was the one that then Erdogan was using as like the he was using the little girl for those like photo ops and shit like that.
I think it would have been Aleppo.
It was Aleppo, wasn't it? Idlib is obviously the newest.
Yeah. Or was it Afrin?
No, it wasn't Afrin.
No,
it was Aleppo. And there was that girl who was doing like live Twitter videos and then like a week later ended up like sitting on Erdogan's lap. Whatever. Like the I cannot trust the Turkish media in any sense whatsoever, of the sense of what they're then like, you know, doing to then justify their stuff, which is pretty much just like one, imperialist expansion, and then two, this sense of like, I don't know, like supporting ISIS and shit like that, like not good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's. I just really love the way that it is using just like European racism against Europe.
It's smart. Like, it legitimately is smart.
It's like a good episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's Turkey versus Europe, and like Europe has been using racism to like destroy the Middle East, Asia, and Africa, and then it gets a bit tired, it goes to the monster graveyard, and then Turkey pulls this move where it can pull any card from the monster graveyard it wants. It takes the racism and uses it against Europe in defense mode.
Whoa!
And it's been working incredibly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to really quickly say that I'm really, really trying to, on my computer right now, find out the names of the various administrative subdivisions of the Ottoman Empire. Because, it's just because, ages ago, you mentioned the fact that Erdogan recently had a press conference with Cyprus where he was like, I want to take, like, he basically said he wanted to take back Thessaloniki. Like, he wanted that, like, stretch to, like, redraw the borders was his exact term. And it's insane because he's got this, like, whole like neo-Ottomanism like expansion thing. Like, they obviously see Syria
like one of his head advisor, like head foreign policy advisors on Turkish Facebook, just like put up a photo randomly of what he thinks that Turkey should look like.
Was it a real thing though? I don't, because I saw it too.
No, that was definitely real. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh god. What did it take?
Beautiful, everything.
It was big.
It was big.
It was
It was real big. Bigger than Turkey is
big
now.
and beautiful.
Yeah, because I think it's worth pointing out that for anyone who doesn't know, the Ottoman Empire for pretty much all of its history
was big.
It controlled Syria.
Yeah,
like,
no, of course.
Yeah, the Ottoman Empire lasted for a very long time, and its borders were like if you do a time lapse, it did change quite a bit. Like how far they went into Europe, how far they went into North Africa, what was actually part of the empire, what was a vassal state, blah, blah, blah.
Its governing structures changed a lot.
It did.
I think we have to like, that's definitely something that I don't think we can ever really go into on just an episode, but the Ottoman Empire is this like hyper-centralized Turkish national project isn't necessarily true until the later episodes of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, the later seasons.
The later seasons, you get the seasons 8 or 9.
I stopped watching the show
at that point. It was
because it kind of got weird.
Hanseatic League was doing some crazy shit. I couldn't pay attention to. But
my favorite fucking episode though was when my boy Muhammad Ali, not the boxer, the governor of Egypt at the time, just like murdered a bunch of Ottoman officers by inviting him over to dinner. Cool.
That does sound very Game of Thrones.
He did do that.
It does.
But no, okay, so it was the islet of Silistria. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Because there was another press conference that happened at a very similar time as the Cyprus one, where he was meeting the president of Moldova at the time, and during it, he fell asleep. Like in front of all the cameras. Yeah, Erdogan's kind of old, but like he fell asleep in front of all the cameras. And I was just looking at it being like, that's probably better than trying to reestablish the islet of Silistria. It's like, yeah, let him sleep. This is fine. But like, I think it was the last Turkish election. They had a campaign ad that was like, I want to say, it's not a peacock. It's like some national bird that's it's like a bird of paradise, but it's also quite like a hawk or quite strong. I don't know. It's meant to represent Turkey, but it was flying over what looked like northern Syria, like Levant region.
Yeah. Is it the bird? Because Erdogan, as far as I know, means something like a bird.
Oh, okay.
Is that like a symbol?
That's really interesting because the former Taoiseach of Ireland, Enda Kenny, Enda means bird-like. I don't know why.
Erdogan Kenny.
Yeah, as far as I know, it is like a kind of like a hawk's kind of thing, and it is like that's why this name is quite popular. Last and fourth.
I remember the ad now. It was for the AKP. It was the bird. It might be a reference to Erdogan, but either way, it represents the strength of the party, and it was flying alongside what was clearly marked as an Ottoman soldier on horseback going through a desert.
They're both flying?
No,
Okay.
Flying beside a horse doing what horses do, which is the reverse of flying, swimming. No. But it was very neo-Ottomanism on the sleeve and very obvious.
So it's like Aaron going along with history or
something.
Probably,
or just like, we're going to... I think the implied thing was like, we're going to recreate
that's what
the bold
I meant
adventuring of Ottoman.
Expansion,
yeah.
Because damn, it's big. This is a juicy, thick empire.
Yeah. But it's really
BPT, beautiful Turkey. That was my favorite on
my Pornhub searches
on
are
every
all
porn site. I'm just like looking for the BPT.
Oh, God.
But
I don't know, big beautiful woman. No, that's what I was referring. Okay,
I knew that you don't need to explain.
Porn
Julia, just because you figured out acronyms in English doesn't mean that we don't already know them.
I'm sorry.
I was trying.
I'm very boring.
I was trying to. First of all, I love the way Germans abbreviate things of just like
parts of words,
GroKo, I'm still insistent that we have to call the fashion show the Furfashu.
I like that,
but the I was trying to work in my head how to like fit Ottoman Empire into fat ass white girl Pog. I couldn't make it work. Come back to me later.
Nice. The blackmailing. Because I started with the deal. Yeah. And now the the interesting thing is that Erdogan now, because we talked about the deal, said like, borders are open. So like until NATO steps in and helps me doing like committing war crimes in northwestern
something
Syria.
he's really good at doing.
Yeah. I will keep the borders open, and this is like a thing that he used before and as a threat, as a blackmailing.
Because this is all Putin's fault, actually.
Yep, that guy.
Yeah, somehow we can tie it to him and Assad, the
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just so perplexed.
I am actually like, I want to see no, I don't want to see because I know the EU actually, even though they always say like, oh yeah, no, we won't take any blackmailing from Turkey. They did, they do, they probably will, unfortunately.
I mean, it's a legalized blackmailing because it's like,
yeah.
the way they talk about it is like, oh, blackmailing, that's not happening because that's illegal. But this is a big giant document that says we have a very favorable agreement with Erdogan because they have shit on us. They took my racism card and they're using it against me.
Yeah, and this is the thing that then I always just find so amazing too, from then how much people like give into this as well, because Erdogan's only card that he has is the lives of millions of people within his country who he does not want. And the thing that I just find so amazing about it is that then, you know, if Erdogan cared about resettlement so much, because he's using resettlement as a token of like, I need to expand. Like, you know, that was the thing with expanding into Rojava. That's this thing of then expanding into Idlib, which is not a Turkish city. I think it's been quite clear that before the civil war, it was not a part of Turkey. And now it is still not a part of Turkey. This idea that this like just rightfully belongs, because Erdogan's using the sense of like, oh, we're going to resettle these people who aren't even really actually from these areas. We're just going to do that, and they've done these massive census of after Afrin when they took it over, where they rename everything into the the Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi fucking rec center and shit like that. That it's complete cultural erasure.
Yeah, it's like saying we take these like areas that like belong to the Kurdish people for a long, long time, because
or even Arab people now, like in this sense.
But also especially like the area where the Kurdish people were living, and we're gonna like erase the Kurdish people, Kurdish culture, Kurdish everything. And
the Armenian genocide never happened, but it's good that it's happening with other people now.
Exactly.
But we'll do it again.
Yeah. And like settle other people there. So it's like.
But exactly on that point is that then like if resettlement was a thing, there are these massive swaths of land in Turkey that were at one point inhabited that have no inhabitants anymore. I wonder why. I don't think people understand how like not densely populated Anatolia is. Like most of Turkey's population is in 3 cities. Like if resettlement was really a concern of Erdogan, and Erdogan has literally gone on Turkish media and said, oh, we can't resettle them in Anatolia because these are a desert people and Anatolia is like grasslands. And it's that literally is the fucking like Trump or Ted Cruz made this argument in the Republican debate about why they couldn't resettle Syrian refugees in the United States because they're not used to the climate in the United States. They just do you really want Syrian refugees in Minnesota? And it's like Somalian refugees are in Minnesota. Like I think that they're doing okay.
Anglo-Saxons in Arizona.
They do not belong there.
America is a rich tapestry of various ethnicities being in climates they weren't meant to be.
No, of course not. But it's like
only beaten by Australia.
No.
That continent doesn't want people there.
No, people shouldn't exist there. No. But unless you're the indigenous people, obviously. But the whole line of that, then there's just like that people buy into the sense of and Al Jazeera buys into this line really well.
Interesting.
Of like, oh yeah, Turkey needs to do this because they're going to help the people. It's like they don't care about helping the people.
Yeah,
they would have made the idea then of just making propaganda the whole time of just people being like, I love Turkey so much, but I really want to go to Germany. It's like, I just can't believe it. Like Turkey is just this like weird amalgamation of just like a state that's just like so hyper centralized that it just seems like a gaffe the whole time. Like the news broadcast being so faked that you can't believe it, that people actually watch this on their TV and like, damn it, I hate the Kurds so much.
Yeah.
Or like the sense of then like oh, there was a refugee who was really poorly translated, but I believe what the translator is saying, even though a bunch of people on Twitter are telling me that is not what they said.
Yeah. So there's just kind of one thing I want to read here, which I read earlier today that I thought was a pretty good assessment of what's happening. It was from Al Monitor, which is like a Middle East kind of news site by a one Sema Diz. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But I just want to read this and see what you guys think. Turkey is in an is an isolated country today that has confrontational ties with the United States and Russia, as well as the Arab world and Europe. It is trying to ensure its vital security interests against this difficult backdrop. But the few friends Ankara has left, such as Qatar, Pakistan, and Azerbaijan, provide Turkey with no strategic value that could strengthen its hand against its adversities. The only option Erdogan has is to try and play the United States and Russia against each other, as he has been doing for some time now. But this approach seems to also have run its course. Erdogan's velocity in international relations and disdain for diplomatic niceties, as well as its advice of professional diplomats, may go down well with his diehard supporters. Nevertheless, an increasing number of Turkish analysts, including some former supporters of Erdogan, believe that the situation Ankara finds itself in Syria in particular is largely, if not totally, self-inflicted. So yeah.
And I think that's a good spot to end with.
One thing, no? Sorry.
Yeah, go.
One thing. Because we've been talking about that, and I think we should always like also mention and remember that there's people living in that area.
Yeah.
So it's not only like Russian and Syrian forces and Turkish forces fighting each other or jihadi forces. There's people living in that area.
Yeah.
There's people like fleeing that area. There's people dying in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like something that we always forget, like not always forget, but we shouldn't forget when we talk about a conflict like that, because we keep talking about Russia, Turkey, Assad.
Yeah, it can seem like a video game almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, you play Russia, I play...
I play Russia in defense mode.
So this is like bringing like a new peak to like the humanitarian crisis that is actually like happening in that in that area, and will cause a lot of death and a lot of misplacement of people.
I mean, it's been happening since 2013. Like
I know,
not,
but it's just another,
it's another chapter into it.
Yeah.
I think though that this just like exactly on that point is that I think for a lot of people who, and I think it's kind of boiled down into the sense that we've seen because a lot of this, obviously Assad pre-2013 had a lot of shit on his hands with dealing very poorly with an economic crisis and then how it ends up in the conflict that then it does. But we've seen then it transform into one of the most disgusting expansions of Western influence and Russian influence too. We can't forget Russia then has had a massive hand in trying to then, I can understand a little bit more the perspective of Russia than wanting to help their ally of Syria rather than just complete, undermining the entire situation for Western gains. After all of this, that then, like you were saying, like that this is more than just like, a chessboard. And I just think it's so disgusting that then like within our ignorance as the West, and I'm putting us as just the West in general, that these people's lives of how many people have left the country and like moved into Lebanon and into Turkey, into Europe, Jordan, and stuff like that, Jordan, all that. Like it's been millions and millions and millions of people, many of whom are probably not going to be going back to their homes in Syria.
There's nothing to go back to.
No, exactly. Yeah. And it really is amazing to me about how that this just continuously like is ignored within this chessboard mindset. Listen to how any politician in a Western country talks about Syria, and it's always in the sense of like, well, like we have to then improve the relations between then us and our allies on the ground. And it got to the point, which is no longer speculation, that it has gotten to the West supporting ISIS. Yeah. To what point then is this worth it? And I think that the only thing that we can just collectively say is like, you can still critique Assad, obviously. He is like, there's a reason why this war happened. Not everything was, beautiful and hunky-dory in Syria. There was a lot, I do not buy the ultra line that Assad is a leftist. I do think that I do think that's a bunch of bullshit, fucking Western bullshit anti-imp shit that's just completely misguided. You can be a leftist and critique Assad. There are Marxist-Leninists in Syria who do not like Assad very much.
We have Rojava as well. As
a thing. They're like, we have been here now for almost 8 years looking at this conflict, and it just seems like it'll never, ever, ever end. Yeah. And I'm just wondering to the sense of like, at what point are we just going to let it be turned over to the Syrian people of like please take your country back. I mean, like, please, like, I'm so sick of reading stories about Syria because now it's just become like farce at this point of Turkey wanting to expand. The civil war is more or less just over.
Yeah,
it's become then that of an imperial struggle for land in this one part of Syria that has become, some weird battleground between the West, Syria, and Russia. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, yeah. Yeah, I'm putting Turkey within that of the West. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, because they have their own.
They have their own
things.
Goals.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm just so. I mean, we've seen within this like Rojava come up as you mentioned of like a project that we've actually seen been quite successful, be potentially stamped out in multiple occasions, Yeah,
because we're looking at a map now of this whole area, and the like red on this map of like the Turkish backed. Syrian rebels and Turkish military, as it is described in the BBC. That was all Rojava.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Yeah.
And it's really it's so disheartening to see all this just continuing just for the sake because of these.
Yeah, it's basically not a civil war anymore.
No, it's not. No. It's a land grab for a thing that then was Syria before the civil war. And I'm sorry, like Turkey does not need to expand. There's no like existential crisis that Turkey has where it's like a sense of like you can't use the third worldist perspective of like a nation state, like a national identity thing with Turkey. You just can't. Turkey has always been an imperial power. Yeah. And this isn't like you like I see very like again within that like bizarre weird anti-imp cross section of like Western leftists will defend Turkey's expansion, being like, oh yeah, they're POCs and they're expanding.
It's a weird analysis of the whole thing because it's why I get really annoyed that like people who won't consider Turkey Europe or like why we consider Turkey like in the brackets of our podcast's scope is because their historical relationship has been one that is very similar to that of other European powers. Yeah. Like they were expansionists, they weren't exploited. They owned places, they weren't owned.
Yeah. Yeah, and they had actually after the First World War, they had this like nation state idea coming up, which is very similar to a lot of other countries in Europe, especially in the eastern part of Europe, where you had this idea, the first Poland or something like that, like of a nation state, like of the eastern part of Europe, because of course you had like the others before, like Western Europe, but this very late development of like the idea of a nation, a nation state, that is very similar, to that of Turkey. I would say like the idea comes up, you want this, you have a very nationalistic idea of it because you have governments like that keep referring back to those like golden years in the like 20s, like in Poland, Hungary, etc. So that's just what I want to mention.
I mean, I think the only thing that like they're maybe not like France or Germany, but they're definitely very comparable to like Italy, like this former global power that's been like recently embarrassed kind of thing, and now they're Mamma Mia. God, their currency used to have the same goddamn name. Like,
that is true. Yeah.
So it's that's probably the episode.
Yeah, that is. We have anything to shout out?
We have a new bonus episode out now if you haven't heard it already. If you want to donate to patreon.com/Corner Späti. We do have a new episode where Yulia, Nick, and Rob, God bless his soul, rest in peace.
Get well soon, kid.
They talk about German reactions to the presidential campaign in the United States.
They're not good.
No, they're not. I just listened to the episode. Oh, God.
So Mike Bloomberg is really cool.
I have heard that.
Boom.
Bloomers. So do check that out. Just for $5 a month, you can get the bonus episodes, which we might be able to keep the 2 episodes a month.
Yeah, we're going to try to keep doing that. It's doable on on our part.
We've got some plans, and
we're doing big things.
We're doing big things. And if you can't afford $5 a month, you can also reach out to us, and
we'll send you the MP3s.
We're happy to help out.
Sorry for the downer of an episode. I just have to say the turkey is not a fun topic.
Bapa Booey.
There it is. It's lively again.
Yeah, I did it. I saved it. Everyone's fine. Yeah. Hey, remember Wine Mountain? Marcus Wine Mountain. Yeah.
We'll leave you on that note then.
Yeah.
Just imagine Wine Mountain. It's just a bunch of middle-aged white women on lots of Xanax going down a splash mountain. Just going like, whoa.
It's filled with red wine.
Exactly.
Coming soon to Gyrodisney.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.